Okay, should we start with like a Halloween-y thing?
Yeah, I figured.
I mean, we've literally done this like 50 times.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm thinking of?
Doing a word game thing.
No.
What?
What do we always do on Halloween episodes? What song do we sing?
This is Halloween. This is Halloween. Halloween.
Halloween.
Everywhere it's Halloween. In this town we call home. Everybody hail to the pumpkin song. What is up, UA listeners? Ashley here with some super exciting news. October series is here. Like, she's here. And Tara and I could not be more excited. Obviously, we could not do the spooky series without your guys' spooky stories. So do me a favor, and if you have a scary story or if you know someone that has a scary story, send them in now. Be sure to include all of the spooky details, and yours could be chosen to read on the podcast this month. Also, if you just live for spooky season like Taryn and I do, then you have to subscribe to our Supercast account, where we will be doing scary stories all month long. That means you'll be getting 2 episodes every week for the entire month of October, and of course they will all be spooky stories. Totally worth the $5 if you ask me. So subscribe to our Supercast today and send in your stories now.
You know what's funny? Well, first of all, happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
Halloween. We almost didn't make it here.
We barely survived the last 2 episodes. I had nightmares. I was going to wait to talk about this, but I had a really hard time sleeping last week.
I don't think y'all understand. I mean, obviously, if you heard the episode, the last couple.
Yeah.
I think you could hear the fear and terror in our eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, our voices. You could hear our eyes. But I was not being dramatic when I was literally this close to being like, I need to go home.
Yeah.
We'll figure out how to end this at another time and place.
Let's figure this out later after we watch a Pixar movie and sleep with the lights on.
No, I was like, so the drive home, I was okay because we listened to worship music and I was like, okay. And
we were cleansing. We were cleansing.
I got food, which helped. And then I called somebody and talked to them, which helped. And then I watched Robin Hood.
Yes, Robin Hood's a good call.
But I was so close to quitting.
Taryn, I kid you not. I woke up at 2:50 that night, did not go back to bed for 2 hours.
It didn't help even with Jackson right there?
I was wide awake and I kept trying to when I was little and I'd have nightmares, my dad would try to tell me to change the channel, and he'd be like, you have to actively think of something different. And he called it changing the channel.
Oh yeah, you've told me that before.
So I was like, change the channel, Ashley, change the channel. And so I was trying to think of a ton of other things. Nothing was working. I finally grabbed your phone, and I know you're not supposed to grab your phone, but also I was having a hard time changing the channel. Yeah. And I was like, I need help. So I grabbed my phone, I start scrolling, and then I'm awake, just wide awake. So I ended up grabbing my book and finishing it, and then laying in bed for a bit longer, and then finally falling asleep a little before 5. But Jackson,
my gosh.
woke up the next morning and he was like, did you not sleep good last night? I was like, yeah, did I keep you up? I thought you were asleep the whole time. He was like, no, but I got all the TikToks you sent me at 3 in the morning. And I was like, oh yeah, that was
oh yeah, I was busy.
I forgot I did that. So yeah, it deeply affected me.
Yeah, same.
Happy, scary stories are pretty much over.
Well, we at the end of recording, we were because we were oh yeah, bonus Halloween. And I was like, Ash, I don't know if I can do it.
Yeah.
So we talked about maybe just putting up our old favorites or things like that. But I was like,
that's no fun, especially when not that it's not fun, because I definitely think we should do that at some point. But you guys sent in so many good stories. I was like, we should probably just read another one.
I genuinely thought I could never read a scary story again after that.
But I've
recovered.
Yeah, here we are. We're back.
Yeah, we're back.
And we're just so excited to have another bonus Halloween episode prepared for you guys to celebrate Halloween. I hope you guys are just staying safe out there, eating all the candy. I want to know what you guys are dressed up as. If you guys are listening to this on Halloween, please tag us. Just snap a quick selfie and tag us so we can see what you're doing. If you have a candle lit and you're being cozy, or if you're running errands and you're hectically getting ready for your Halloween evening, we want to see that as well. So whatever it is that you're doing, send us a little pic and tag us, because that's how I feel connected to you guys.
I know. It's so funny because I feel like we like go through waves. Like there's some times where we'll get tagged in so many things of you guys sending like selfies and like listening to UA at the gym, like whatever.
Yes.
And then there'll be times where I'm like, hello, is anyone there? Like, are you guys well?
Also, you can tag Taryn and I as well. Like, it doesn't have to be just the podcast.
So rude. Just kidding. But yes, it's Halloween. Congrats. We all made it.
We survived.
Through the month.
Well, almost.
Ish.
We still have tonight.
Ooh. We are recording during the day though, which I really feel
better about.
Yeah. I don't think that was the wisest thing we could have ever done.
Yeah. We've just been busy and everything was kind of schedule wise was kind of all over the place. And we were like, you know what, let's just do it at night. It works easier that way. Like Michaela could get the episode in time to edit it. And I don't recommend doing scary stories at night. Like it's just not a good idea.
Fun doing it at night before, but that was like in your bedroom.
Yes.
And then we like watched movies and hung out after. It wasn't like we're in this, like it was the first time in this new studio.
Yeah.
There's like windows. There was like so much going on that I was like,
dark outside.
We are going to die.
Yeah. There was a lot of change going on and I don't recommend it during scary story season. So
I know.
Luckily we got through that and we're here for another one and a last one, but also not a last one if you're a Supercast member.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are a Supercast member, you already know. If you're not, guess what? We continue the scary stories on Supercast all year round. So if you love scary stories, then you should probably subscribe to our Supercast account. There's tons of bonus content, not just scary stories. You get solo episodes, you get AMAs, and again, we continue the scary stories all year round. So subscribe to our Supercast account because it is growing and it is so much fun over there.
No, it literally is growing. It's been fun watching more and more people join or getting tagged in comments where people are like, I just signed up, like so excited.
No, it's honestly, it's so much fun. And they're even doing their own like, oh, we're going to have our own scary stories. So they're called Super Scaries.
Oh, yeah.
So they'll title, they're like, we don't want this read on the pod. We want this read on Supercast. So they're getting their own like thing going on, which is really fun to watch and be a part of.
Exciting. Well, to start us off, because, it's Halloween, it's been a rough, scary month.
It has been a super scary month.
To reset, I was doing some research on how to have good dreams.
Oh, I love that.
And I literally thought about you because I know you've been struggling.
Yes.
So some of this stuff is like, no duh, but also I'm like, maybe it'll help somebody. Mm-hmm. So number one is funny to me because it says get enough sleep. And I'm like, bro.
Well, that's what we're trying.
The whole point is I can't sleep because of these dreams. But exercise before bed, which I've heard people say both. Like sometimes that helps you fall asleep faster or sometimes it keeps you up. So
I've heard exercise period.
Yeah.
If you work out at any point during that day, you will probably sleep better.
Yeah.
I do think exercising before bed helps you sleep tremendously, but you can't be taking pre-workout. You can't be taking like energy boosts because that will mess with your sleep. So
for sure.
You can't be one of those people that has to have some kind of energy boost during the workout.
Yeah.
So it's a fine line. Working out, yes, but you have to do
it
the
right.
caffeine.
Yeah. Obviously, like do something relaxing, like meditating or taking a bath. That's always good. Avoid eating before bed because eating affects your brain activity and metabolism, which I guess can lead to like extra like activity in your brain,
Which is funny because I've always had like a fruit before bed was part of my nutritional plan that my very expensive LA nutritionist told me to take because it keeps your metabolism going all night long, which we want for that fat burn. But also I have my whole life struggled with like really intense dreams. And I'm like, was that helping?
Is that part of it?
Was that like a big part? So interesting.
Yeah. Avoid like alcohol close to bed or any type of stimulant, like what you were saying. And then it says like to avoid like nicotine and marijuana because they're mood altering. But then I was always like, doesn't that like put you to sleep more?
I think there's strains of weed that like help you sleep and there's strains of weed that like, probably don't.
Which like, I haven't personally tried either of those to like go to sleep, but I know a lot of people who
Oh, I have.
Like right before bed.
When I hurt my shoulder, I really did not want to take the pain medication. I've heard it was super addicting. And I took it a couple times when I first got my injury. And when I tell you I was floating in bed, it was... it felt great, but it was also like, these are really intense.
Strong.
And I feel like even though I was in a lot of pain, I don't think it was as intense as like I should have needed those for. So I wanted something else that wasn't as intense and strong and addictive. Mm-hmm. So I did weed before bed, and it was just like a little weed pen that I got from the store, and it helped me sleep so good.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
But
yeah,
it was also mixed with CBD.
I was going to say, like, you probably have to be careful of this strain.
It was specifically like I walked in, I was like, hi, what will help me sleep?
Just sleep.
I was like, hi, sir. I need something to help me sleep.
Yeah.
And he was like, right here. And I was like, I'll take one of those.
I'll take, I don't know how you would say a pack. Okay. So I don't know if that helps you at all. I feel like a lot of those were no duh, but some of us in life in general, wow, I feel like we're back on like UA right now because I'm about to give some like advice and I just like can't wait. But I think in life in general, I have noticed so much, especially the older I get and the more like my friends, like we're all old and tired and trying our best just to get through life. And there's so many times like I hear people complain about stuff, but then I'm like, when I'm like, oh, well, have you looked up like how to stop dreams or like foods you can eat to help with that or like whatever, you know what I mean? And most people are just like, no.
As Jackson would say,
like, suffer through.
Wouldn't it be nice if there was this thing that you could like search and get answers to?
Good old Google. Did you know Google was called back rub originally?
No.
Yep.
That is an excellent fun fact. Why?
That was one of my dating app prompts for fun facts.
Back rub.
Back rub. Anyways, okay, let's jump into it. Do you want to start us off with the scaring it up?
I obviously do. This one is titled The Not So Scary Intruder. Hello, ladies. My name is Savannah, and I have been a longtime listener, and I've listened to nearly every episode since 2020. However, I am one of the few who have skipped over some of the October series episodes in order to protect myself from going into complete paranoia, LOL, which is exactly what we were just struggling with.
How do I skip over this? Yeah. There's just like a body double here.
Yeah.
YouTube watchers are like,
they're like, interesting. That's like a cardboard cutout of Taryn. How come she hasn't moved this whole time?
Why is her voice different?
She continues, I do, however, have quite the scary story that I just had to write in. It all happened back in 2012 or so. I was around 12 or 13 at the time. To set the scene, I grew up in a 2-story house where all of our bedrooms were on the top floor. My sister and I shared one room, and my 2 other sisters shared the room right next to us, and down the hall was my parents' bedroom. On this night, my dad was out of town and on a work trip, so it was just us girls. We had all gone to bed around 8 p.m. when all of a sudden I heard a sound that completely startled me and made me jump out of bed. At first, I just sat at the end of my bed, not sure why my body was subconsciously woken up and in such a fearful state. After sitting there for half a second, I started to hear loud, continuous banging that I thought was coming from outside. I look over and see that my sister is still completely asleep. So I decided to go out of my room to see where the noise was coming from. I walked out of my room to see my younger sister, then around 6 years old, standing in her bedroom doorway, screaming bloody murder. Like seriously, screaming at the top of her lungs. I went over to her to ask what was wrong, and she just continued screaming.
Oh, gosh.
It was like she was in a trance and couldn't see or hear me. This completely freaked me out, and as I looked past her to see my other sister, she was sitting on her bed also screaming bloody murder and couldn't be consoled.
Ew, I hate that so much because you know how they say like kids and dogs can see stuff? Mm-hmm. And luckily Charlie's like blind and deaf now. So like it doesn't happen as much, but there were times
he could feel things probably.
Well, there were times where he'd be like at the edge of my bed, just staring off in the distance, doing like the ruff, ruff. And I'm like, "What are you looking at?" And I would like kick him.
What do you hear? What are you looking at?
Kick
What's
him
going
gently.
on?
Okay, everyone, calm down. Calm down.
Absolutely terrified, I decided to walk down our hallway a few steps, only to find my mom standing at the top of the stairs, banging her hand on the wall as hard as she possibly could and flicking the lights off and on.
Okay. this is a tearing it up, right? There's going to be a...
Honestly, she looked like a crazy panicked person the way she was standing and hitting the wall. She was screaming, "Get out, get out, get out," at the top of her lungs. My heart was beating fast at this point, and I keep thinking that there's someone in the house. I asked my mom what is going on, and she said she saw someone climb over our wall and into our backyard. After hearing this information, my heart continues to beat faster and faster, and I start having trouble breathing. My mom continued banging on the wall, screaming and flicking the lights off and on. I tried to see out the big window that looked into our backyard, which you could see from the top of the stairs, and I couldn't see anything. And after a while, my mom decided to call our neighbor to come over and look in our house and backyard for us. We were absolutely terrified, especially with my dad not being there. My mom was shaking and horrified because she was 100% sure she saw someone climbing over. At this point, my sisters had calmed down, and we were all waiting in my parents' room while my mom and our neighbor were outside looking around. I've never been so scared in my life. Finally, my mom came back upstairs, and this time, instead of being scared, I could tell she was mad. Apparently, when she went outside, she saw that there were a bunch of plastic forks stuck in our front lawn, and that the intruder was going to put them in our backyard too, but was obviously scared off from the banging and screaming coming from our house.
Not forking.
Forking. My neighbor had an idea of who it was, and he called them, and they came back to our house. It turned out the intruders were teenage boys from our church that were going around to a bunch of different houses to pull this little prank.
Listen, what do you expect young Christians to do, okay?
Yeah.
They can't be out partying.
They can't
be out doing
They can't do
the
drugs. They can't do alcohol. They definitely can't be having sex.
They're gonna throw bologna
they're
at
gonna
your
fork
house
you.
and forks.
They're going to toilet paper your house. That's the only thing they're
They
allowed
literally
to do.
have nothing else to do.
Have you ever toilet papered someone's house?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I remember it was like a bittersweet thing. Like I did it a few times, and then at one point my parents were like, "You're not allowed to do that anymore." And I was like, okay.
My mom used to make us, which I feel like as a parent, I could see me doing this. We would toilet paper, and then the next morning we would come with donuts, and then we'd all have trash bags and help clean it up. So it'd be like funny. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Because we'd usually toilet paper like a boy's house or like one of our friends' house. So then we'd come in the morning, and it was just fun because they'd be out picking up, and we'd be like, "Hey."
I just remember specifically doing it to one of our friends' houses that had huge trees, and like we would chuck it over and it would get stuck. You know, morning dew would happen, and it would just like get stuck to the tree, and it'd be up there for months. And the dad was mad, and I was just like, yeah, I get that.
It tracks.
That
makes sense.
By the time they got back to our house, my mom was furious. Her mama bear instincts went off on these boys. She yelled at them and told them that they could have gotten shot, and that how could they be so stupid? Needless to say, those boys stayed clear from my mom for a very long time. In the morning, she had them come over and retrieve all of the plastic forks from our yard. Even though the story turned out to be somewhat funny, I still had chills for years every time I walked to the top of the stairs. I could swear I would see a shadow climbing over. Needless to say, this little prank traumatized me and my sisters for years. I hope you guys enjoyed this story and felt a little relief as I did when I found out what actually happened. Happy October series. Love you all. It's specifically that age of being a kid, anything scary. So but especially seeing your mom freaking out.
Well, yeah.
That's terrifying. And then the way that she found her little sisters and the way that her mom looked crazy saying, "Get out, get out, get out." Like that's very scary.
No, I would have been traumatized by that too.
Totally.
Wow. I'm glad you survived and that it wasn't what we all thought it was.
Don't fork your friends' houses, especially if you know that they're
or don't
scaredy cats.
I'm sorry, but like
climb the fence.
Climbing the fence to go in the backyard is wild to me.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I remember we went to go toilet paper this one guy's house, and we like drive up, and there's just this huge gate, and there's all these signs that say like trespassers will be shot, and we all just like looked at each other because we like knew the family, and I was like, I believe that sign. Like I fully 1,000%.
This was out
believe
here.
if we go into this, because it was like a house up in the hills.
Yeah.
So like we would have had to climb this giant gate, and then it's like all land to like get up to the house.
Nope.
And I was just like,
And trespassers will be shot.
I fully believe this.
That sounds like we're like down in the deep south.
Yeah, I was like, I'll not be going into this yard. Sorry, no thank you. All right. Let's go ahead and get into it.
It's time.
It's time, y'all.
Grab your blankets, light your candles, dim the lights. Again, if you're driving, eyes up, focus on the road.
Eyes up.
Do what you got to do. If you're working out, maybe run a little harder.
Yeah.
Hit it a little harder.
Watch for some ghostly lady in white.
Oof, oof. In the mirror.
Side of the road.
Ew,
Ew, not in the mirror. Don't look in your rearview mirror. Sorry. Wow.
Oh.
Okay. All right. This one is titled Where Shadows Wait. Nervous laugh. Okay. Hi, Ashley and Taryn. I've been meaning to write into October series for about 3 years now, and I finally sat down to
Praise
do it.
the Lord. It's been time. We've been waiting.
I know. I love the podcast so much. I could go on forever, but my story's pretty long, so let's just get into it. I live in one of the most haunted cities in North America.
I'm sorry. Voluntarily?
First of all,
is this Salem?
First of all, there are so many things I've learned this October series about research that needs to be done about my city, my town, the founding fathers of my city, what happened in the street I live in,
what happened underneath the house I live in.
Girl,
it's like Google it. The message from today's episode is Google it.
What's wrong with y'all?
Like, obviously, like you can't help where your parents choose to raise you, but like you can leave. You can leave.
You can leave. So most haunted cities in North America. So when my friend and I found ourselves with nothing to do one dry October night, just a few days from Halloween, we decided to hit up some of the creepiest spots around town.
Again, voluntarily?
Yeah.
This isn't Halloween Horror Nights where they can't touch you and we all know they're fake. This is a let's go explore and see what happens.
Ashley? Exactly. And here's where I land on how in danger I am doing October series. I had this conversation with my mom because after our last episode, I went to pick up my dog and my mom was like, how was recording?
Terrible.
And I was like, Mom, I'm not doing well. I'm telling you that right now. And then she goes, be careful what you're opening yourself up to. Which I'm like, thank you. But I told her, I was like, Ma, here's the thing. I stay so far away from this stuff. Most of these stories, it's like, oh, well, we did this, or I bought this scary thing from this, or I talked to it, or I this, or I that. And I'm like, here's the thing. I'll read this story.
Will never.
But this is fiction to me in my mind.
Yep.
And I just steer it clear. One thing I'll never be doing on any night, especially in October, close to Halloween, is living in a haunted city and exploring the creepy spots.
Yep.
That's one thing you'll never find me doing. So, but good for you because we got the story out of it.
I mean, absolutely not.
Okay, so we'd heard stories, everyone has, but we wanted to see for ourselves if there was any truth to them. Ooh. One of the places we had to check out was this infamous golf course. Legend is a woman named Dorris. Freaking Dorris. Ooh. Met up with her estranged husband at the golf course many years ago, and it didn't end well. He killed her
with a club,
then himself, and their bodies washed up on a nearby beach a few days later.
Oh my God.
Now, Dorris is said to haunt the course, always dressed in white.
I mean, I would too.
In white. And kind of love this part. She hates men.
I mean, I would too.
Bro.
If some guy tried to take me golfing and killed me, I would haunt the hell out of that place.
He didn't try to take her golfing. They met up. So I think that was like a place where he's like, baby, 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 Dorris, take me back. Let's just sit and talk. And she probably was like, I'm done with you and your stuff, Bartholomew or whatever his name was. And then he freaking kills her. And then himself. like the coward he is. Okay. If you really want to see her, the trick is to ring the bell at the 6th hole.
Oh, why
What
would
bell?
you do that?
What bell?
Is there, my question is, who put the bell up?
Probably the manager of the golf course, who
To
again
see
is
her?
a guy and who's like, oh, haha, this will be funny. Right? Are there
There's a
bells
bell?
at golf courses?
I feel like I should be asking you that. I don't know.
I know. I have not heard of that, but I don't know. Anyways, okay. So there we were, standing at the 6th hole. It was late and the whole place was dead silent. No pun intended. I rang the bell. Why would you
Couldn't have
do
had
that?
one of your other friends do it? Like, why you?
I don't know.
It's always worse when you're the one who does something.
Girl, I know. We waited and nothing. The end.
Oh, I was like-
Okay. I was just about to turn around when I felt a sudden chill. Yeah. As I turned to leave, I spotted something out of the corner of my eye.
It's Dorris.
Movement near the bushes by the exit.
And it was white.
Ashley, shut your mouth. I froze. Sitting under the branches was a woman. Her hair long and white and almost glowing in the darkness. She looked right at me and smiled. Her face was so peaceful, but her eyes, there was something not right about them. Then, as if it was just the most normal thing in the world, she gave me a little wave. My heart just about stopped. As I turned to sprint away from Dorris, I slipped in mud. Mind you, it had been sunny all week. For multiple tries, I couldn't stand up. I would just keep slipping over and over again. I finally scrambled up and made it back to the car, convinced it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. But then out of the corner of my eye, my friend sprints past me, faster than I've ever seen anyone run in my life. When he finally got to the car, he was pale and shaking. He said, "Did you see her?" He claims that he saw her and she charged at him, angry. She hates
'Cause
men,
he's a man.
after all.
He's a man.
Dude, okay, but like I kind of like Doris.
I was going to say.
I love that she's just
support
sitting
her.
there. She's like, "Oh, you rang? Hey,
She
girl."
waved to her and then charged at him. Absolutely, yes.
"Hey, girl," with her dead eyes. And then the man's there just
Dead
like
eyes.
looking around like, what? And then she's like, "Ah."
Yeah.
Yeah, wild. Now, most people would call it a night, but we were teenagers. Common sense wasn't exactly our thing. We decided to go check out another
why
haunted
not?
spot across town. This was an abandoned house where 2 girls were supposedly murdered by their father. Rumor has it, if you drive up to the house at night, you can see their feet hanging from a tree.
What?
Creepy, right?
Yeah.
Just a little. This is the part where my eyes are going to start glossing and it's going to get hard to read. It was around 2 a.m. when we set off down this narrow, dark road toward the house. Hardly any other cars or houses, just emptiness. About 5 minutes into the drive, I got this feeling in my gut, like a warning bell going off inside me. I told my friend I didn't feel right about it, and he agreed. So we decided to turn around. There was a driveway up ahead, so I pulled into it to use it for a 3-point turn. As my headlights swept across the driveway, I see a man just standing there. He was wearing a landscaper's outfit, holding a little garden shovel. He was so still, I convinced myself he was a statue until he started walking up to my car.
Oh, okay.
He motioned for me to roll down my window. My window was already cracked, and of course, I didn't roll it down any further. But he leaned in, gave this strange smile, and through the glass, he asked, "Are you looking for my daughters?"
No. I would have reversed out of there so fast.
I looked down, fumbling with my gear shift, and when I looked back up, he was gone.
No.
Just like that.
No.
The driveway empty, my friend and I didn't speak for the rest of the drive home.
That'd be us.
But the weirdest part, it didn't end there. The next day, I had to drive past the same road on my way home from work. As I approached the road to landscaping man, out of nowhere, my car hydroplaned.
What?
When it finally came to a stop, the front of my car was facing directly down the road that led to the abandoned house. Again, this was another dry day, not a drop of rain anywhere.
And hydroplaned?
Dude,
what?
The spirits were like facing down that road. Are you kidding me? And then the mud when there's like no rain.
No rain? Why is it wet?
I don't know. Apparently ghosts can also control the weather.
Oh, the gardener man probably hosed it down so you would.
Oh, the landscaper. Oh my gosh.
Guy.
Okay. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Sorry if this was long and hopefully not too scary. Girl, many people I've told the story still don't believe me, although I've never figured out what to make of this night. I know it was real. And then she attached a video. It's a YouTube video about the golf course case.
Oh my God.
Like the couple.
Oh my
God. So we'll post a link.
Yeah.
For y'all to watch. I'm not going to watch it right now. We can watch it later at a coffee shop or something. If you want.
Yeah, somewhere well lit with a lot of people.
Yeah. It's not like a real, I can't do the like real time videos.
What do you mean real time videos?
Like someone filming and they're like, oh, there's a goat. I can't do that. But if this is like documentary, like this is the case that happened. Yes. I can do that.
Yes.
So
we're true crime girlies, not ghost hunters.
Exactly.
This happened X many years ago.
Again, there has to be distance between like my brain and what actually happened.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
So yeah. So that is the where shadows wait story. Wild.
The fact that her car hydroplaned in the dry weather is insane.
Well, and where it was facing.
Yeah.
And she said she looked around and there's like no water. That's terrifying.
This is why you don't go out seeking this. This is why you don't go looking for this, because then like that happens.
Exactly.
Because like your mom said, you opened yourself up to something. They weren't even at the house anymore. She's just living her life now. And that's happening to her. No,
people think, and I know this sounds so crazy because we're literally sitting here reading these stories. But I think that's like, to me, it's a little different because it's reading like someone's retelling of something. But I am so strict with myself on like what I'm willing to do or not, like what kind of movies I'm willing to watch. Like when there's like even TikToks where it's like people like recording certain things. Like I'm weird about even like psychics because I get a little scared because not that every psychic is like in tune with crazy stuff, but you never know. And I just get like so...
I have always been very weird with psychics too. Like I never wanted to talk to them, do anything with it. I did go on a event trip once and had a very weird experience. Yeah. Maybe I'll like share that on Supercast.
Oh yeah, you should. Yeah.
Because it was very weird, very unnerving. I literally came home, told Taryn every detail, and it was very unnerving. Yeah. So I don't that stuff. I don't, and I won't.
I don't, and I won't.
I don't, and I won't.
And again, like everything, this is not us pushing our judgment on anyone or anything and what you believe or you don't believe. But for me,
you can't be mad when stuff starts happening to you.
I am very protective about that.
When you went out there looking for it. Yes. Like that's what you wanted. And that's what you want. Maybe not that specifically, but you were looking for it and now you got it. Those are repercussions.
We're still scarred from the story of the piano and like asking the people to come. Like, hello?
Nightmare. I literally could not stop. I woke up and could not stop thinking about that. It was like on loop in my head and I kept trying not to. And then because, I'm an idiot, I have this giant floor length mirror in my bedroom and I just would not look at it. And I was like, I was in bed like.
That was literally me this morning. I was getting ready and I'm like looking in the mirror and I was like, oh my God, look at myself too long. Because if my face starts changing,
Another thing was I was showering the other day and I have this I just moved and I'm in this new apartment and the bathroom lights are sensors. So like you walk in and they automatically turn on. But if you're taking a shower for too long, they'll just turn off.
Yep.
And it happens to me anytime I have to wash my hair, because there's showering where I'm like, I'm in and out super quick. But if I wash my hair, it always takes longer.
Yeah.
And the lights will turn off and it scares the out of me. And I you'll just hear me go, ah, and then I swing the door open to turn the light on, and then it turns back on, and then I can close the door. But I'm like, this is ridiculous. I need a nightlight in the bathroom. Actually, I need a nightlight in the that's
you
what I
need
need
something,
to do.
girl.
I need to do.
Or
That's
you
what I'll
need
do.
like those tabletop like wavy things to like keep motion.
The balloon guy that just like keeps motion going. Oh
my
that's
gosh.
hilarious. All right, let's go ahead and get into
Thank
my
God.
story.
I mean, not thank God because I'm scared, but like I'm glad that I can like now just retreat into my brain.
But I need you to be here and present with me.
I'll
Otherwise,
be as present
that's
as
not
I can
fair.
be.
That's not fair.
I'll be as present as I can
Not
be.
today.
I don't know why
I
I'm
need you to
doing
be
like
here. I need you to be present. I need you to be in this with me, okay? All of you. Last scary story, and then we're done.
No, we're not, Ash.
Well, not for Supercast, but we got through it.
We did.
Okay, this one. This one is titled "A Haunted Airbnb."
Oh gosh.
Hey, Taryn and Ashley. My name is Louisa, and yes, you can totally say my name. Hey, Louisa. Happy spooky season. I love your podcast and I'm such a huge fan. I've been dying to type up this story, but I'm terrible at explaining things in detail and in writing, other than the fact that I'm still in disbelief that this even happened at all. Anyways, if you can't get to this story this year, hopefully you can sometime in the future. A couple of years ago, my cousin was getting married. She lived in Ohio at the time, so my family planned a big road trip from Texas to Ohio. You think it was bad, but it was surprisingly pretty great. We had gotten an Airbnb to stay in for half of the week. This was going to be our first time in Ohio, Cincinnati to be specific, and we're surprised by how hilly it is. We got to the Airbnb and was shocked how the neighborhood was very rustic and kind of creepy. Cincinnati in general, I might add. But the house itself was rustic and charming with a very interesting layout. It had 3 stories overall, and the second and third stories had 3 rooms each. We all picked out which rooms and who would be sharing with who. She says it got intense, family things.
I fully get that. Or like I've been in a couple like bachelorette type things where it's like you like don't want to be too like I need a room with this person or this type of room, whatever. But you're also just like, I'm in this weird house and I'm scared.
Yeah. I decided to go exploring and check out the rest of the rooms, kitchen, and living room. The house itself had a lot of stairs, and even to get to the kitchen, you had to go down some steps. But in the main stairway, there was a door on the side, and I decided to open it. And when I tell you, my jaw dropped to the floor, and goosebumps ran down my body in the disbelief of what I was looking at. As I opened the door, I came across the basement. It was the creepiest looking basement ever. It was fully cemented to the brink, no windows and no lights. And the stairs going down were old and broken, and it gave me the creeps at how empty it was. The only thing down there was the washing machine. Just that, not even a dryer or furniture or any supplies or any junk, just the washing machine surrounded by walls of cement.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm sorry.
I gasped and could hear my own echo bouncing back at me. I called my cousins over to check it out, and they were also confused. Apparently, the Airbnb listing had not mentioned anything about a basement.
I was going to say that's something you look for.
Yeah, not even pictures of it. We check out the door and see that there's locks on it, and it seems that they've been messed with. They decided to message the owners about it and just shut the door and had my dad put the locks back in place. Our first night, all the cousins decided to get plastered and hang out at the house and play drinking games. We had a bunch of beers and music was blasting as we played beer pong, flip cup, etc. At this point, I don't know how many beers I'd had, but all of a sudden the speakers just stopped working and all we hear is static. Granted, this was a big speaker, like a huge DJ speaker, not the tiny JB speakers. We all go silent. A couple of minutes go by and the music randomly comes back on, but much louder than it was before, scaring the crap out of all of us. This was our sign to go to bed already. So we started cleaning up as best as we could. I don't know how I ended up having to throw boxes of beer away, but I did. Granted, I have no idea where the garbage cans were, so I'm frantically and drunkenly walking around the backyard looking for them. I eventually find them, and they were by the side of the house near the gate by the entrance. I throw them away and walk back to the house. When I enter, everyone had already gone back to their rooms and had conveniently left me to turn off all the lights.
Let me tell you right now. Those boxes of beer or whatever those can wait till the morning.
Those could have gone out at 10
Second
a.m.
of all, you're at an Airbnb. It doesn't matter. The electric bill is not your problem.
Yeah.
Those lights are staying on. I'm telling you right now.
100%.
Don't leave me as the last person
I
if you
won't be
want
turning them off.
anything to get done.
I won't be turning them
Absolutely
off.
not.
So I do, and I make my way to the stairs. From the corner of my ear, I hear a faint knock. At first, I thought it was from the front door, so I check the window and see that there's no one there. I walk back again to the stairs and hear the knocking again and again, and I finally realize it's coming from the basement door.
No. The way you guys always make fun of me for my response, but I'm telling you, it's one of those. I would have stopped. I would have heard the knock and looked and gone, nope. And I would have literally just walked, head held high, washed my face.
That's not real.
Climbed in bed and been like, I'm not here.
Climbed in my bed.
Duh.
I would not be climbing in my bed. I'd be climbing in your bed.
Yes,
I'd be climbing in someone's bed.
You'd be like, what are you doing? I'd be like, night.
Yeah.
Just nope.
I'd be like, does anyone want to go get
Disassociated.
a Jack in the Box midnight?
Yeah.
Something?
Not here.
Sleep in the car? I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
I go to the door and check the locks. The knocking continues. I step back and stumble on the stairs. Freaking out, I run back to my room and lock my doors to my room. The next morning, everyone was hungover. I woke up with a pounding headache and bruises on my knees. Confused and dazed, I tried to remember how I could have gotten them, and then the memories of last night came rushing back to me. I quickly made my way down to the basement door and unlocked it. I opened the door and a gush of cold air and a faint smell of rust and something rotten blows on me. But there's nothing down there. There's nothing down there.
No, there's a dead body buried in the cement.
Clearly there was.
Absolutely.
Or is.
Is.
That reminds me of a show. I don't know if you watched it though. I asked my cousin to walk down with me to investigate with me to find traces of someone being down there. But again, nothing. But there are no doors and no other ways to get inside the basement other than the door inside the house. She asked me why I wanted to come down here, and I tell her all about last night's events. She then tells me she also heard knocking, and it woke her up in the middle of the night.
Oh, God.
That day was the rehearsal dinner, and one of my cousins decided to leave early and head back to the house. So we all decided to explore the downtown area after the dinner was over. While we explored, we get a frantic call from him saying the speaker is randomly blasting and playing music, and it won't turn off.
Yeah, no.
Chills.
Absolutely not.
We tell him to unplug it and that he might have to disconnect his phone. And he tells us he did all of that and he can't shake the feeling that he's not alone and that the house is giving him the creeps. On our last night there, we all go to bed early after a long weekend of partying. We all had to be up early to leave the next day. That night, I was woken up by the sound of my door opening.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
My entire room gets cold and I freeze in fear. From the bottom of my bed, I can feel something grab my feet.
Ashley?
I couldn't move. The feeling of heavy pressure on me to the point where I felt like I couldn't breathe started to overtake me. My room was completely dark and I couldn't fully see anything, but I swear it was staring directly at me. It was watching me. It was the longest 5 minutes ever. Finally, I hear the door close. Crying, I feel a burst of relief and take in deep, deep breaths. I can hear someone going down the stairs. I quickly get up and go after it, and when I make my way to the stairs, I see the basement door slam shut. I could not go back to sleep that night. The next morning before we leave, I make my way to the basement one more time just to check and make sure that I'm not going crazy. I go down there and still nothing, but it's extremely cold. I asked my cousins a year later at a family gathering about the house, and they all told me that they had similar experiences, but not as intense as mine. They all agreed that there was something off about that house. And remember when I mentioned that we contacted the owner about the basement and why we weren't told about it? They never responded. And a year later, that house is no longer on Airbnb. Luckily, one of my cousins still had the address, so I decided to Google it. And guess what? It's an empty lot now. And sometimes I still wake up to the feeling of something touching my feet while I sleep. Anyways, hope you enjoyed my spooky encounter story. Can't wait to hear more of your podcast. Love you guys.
Define enjoyed.
It's just so, I feel like most kids can relate to this, but especially if you like struggled with nightmares, your feet, your hands, everything had to be tucked in. It's not supposed to go off the side because of that specific feeling.
To this day, I feel like
because of that specific feeling. Yeah, I hate it. I literally hate it. If I wake up and I get hot and I have to like take the covers off, I still keep my feet tucked under the blankets because they cannot be exposed because of a deep fear of being little and something grabbing my feet, which is so funny because I had a distinct like memory unlock moment. Something from like the 90s, some Instagram page from the 90s reposted something and was like, if you're truly from the 90s, then you still have nightmares from this. And it was the like Boogeyman show on Nickelodeon.
Boogeyman show.
I'm gonna send it to you and I'm gonna have Mandy post it because if any of you guys are millennials and you like watched TV growing up, you might have seen this commercial. And when I tell you I had nightmares from this one specific Boogeyman hand scene. And that's why I keep my feet tucked at night.
Yeah, no.
Also, your friends leaving you alone to turn off all the lights, that is so not fair.
No.
I went to a bachelorette party once and it was at this Airbnb. It was up in like the middle of California, like San Luis Obispo area. And we had to stay in this Airbnb. We were literally like the only ones in this empty, like this small empty neighborhood. It looked like a small farm and there was no one else there. It was huge. And there was this big pool area that we went and spent the whole day at. It was great during the day. But at night I was like, there's no one else here. Like there's literally no one else here. And it's just a house full of girls. Like it's like the beginning of like a horror film. And then everyone, like we're playing karaoke. We're all going, you know, eating, drinking, having fun. Everyone starts going to bed and I'm sitting in bed and I'm like, how much do you want to bet? No one locked the door. How much do you want to bet? No one closed the blinds and left all the lights on. And I couldn't go to bed knowing that,
but you're also like the thought of going out and
I was
seeing
like,
the windows.
I don't want to go do that. But also I'm willing to bet nobody did it. So I crawl out of my bed. I walk over, I go out into the living room. All the lights are on. All the windows are completely open. Doors unlocked. I literally lost my mind. And I was like, there could be some creeper out there that was
like
watching us
in
the
here.
whole time.
They're watching us.
They could be inside by now. Like,
Absolutely.
who knows? I closed all the blinds. I locked the door. And I left like the main like kitchen light on. But I was so upset. I was like, it's always me. Someone has to be responsible and it's always me. And I was just like, this is ridiculous.
I feel that. I feel like we are both very similar when it comes to that stuff where it's like safety. Like we don't play. Yeah. We do not play.
Yeah. Speaking of living with my boyfriend for the first time every night, did you lock the door?
He says that or you say
me.
that?
I'm like, just making sure.
You're like, hi, welcome home, honey. Did you lock the door?
Did you lock the door? He's like, night, love you. Did you lock the door? Yeah.
Oh gosh.
We did it.
We did it.
We survived.
That's
we're alive.
The end.
We're not well.
We're not well.
But we're alive.
But we're alive.
We
and
survived.
You know what? We're going to be fine.
Yep.
Because we believe in Jesus, our Lord and Savior, and he covers us.
Covered by the blood.
If you would like to receive...
Yikes.
Oh my gosh.
Y'all.
No.
Yikes.
I don't know. I honestly don't know how people get through life without being able to like pray and be like, I know that God is protecting me. I genuinely don't know how you're living out there if you don't have that.
I couldn't be doing this October series. I couldn't do it.
Not.
I couldn't do it. Nope.
Absolutely not.
Nope.
All right. Well, I'm going to end us with a dad joke.
Mm-hmm. Please do.
And then guess what, y'all? Next week,
back to solving your, life problems.
Breakups, insecurities.
Work drama, men being stupid.
We love it all.
Men being great.
We love it all. What did the child mummy want to be when he grew up?
Buried.
You gotta give her like 0.5 points for that
He
one.
wanted to be just like his mommy.
A rap star.
That was good. That was good.
I don't know why I did that with my hands.
That was really good. Guys,
we love you.
happy Halloween.
Like always, we're so thankful for you guys because you guys provide us with all this amazing content.
Listen,
but
even though we
October
complain
series,
a lot,
yeah, y'all came
grateful.
through.
we're grateful. Y'all showed up and showed out,
through.
and that's what we asked you to do. We hope you stay safe tonight. We hope you, say your prayers tonight before going to bed. And get excited because we're back to our regularly scheduled content.
Thank God.
So if you have any stuff you want advice on, life, family, friends, relationships, work, doesn't matter. Send it all in because we're back to business
Thank
next
God.
week.
Thank God.
Again, friendly reminder, if you are a fan of the scary stories, it's not stopping on Supercast. So subscribe to Supercast. And if you made it to the dad joke, we love you the mostest.
That's all we got.
all we got.
I just started replaying one of your stories and I'm unwell again.
We're good. We got to go.
We got to get out of here.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.